Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you the 5th session of Crota's Q&A. Now, I got a lot of positive feedback in terms of the last Crota Q&A session where I had explained why sometimes it is better for Terran mech to get armor upgrades over weapon upgrades just because of the attacks to kill. Now, I got so much positive feedback that I thought I would continue this series even though it feels like some of you guys are going back to school. Now, one of the things that a lot of people had mentioned is that in most instances, it is better to get the weapons upgrade over the armor upgrade. And now I wanted to explain why and show why that is. So first of all, the weapon upgrades and the armor upgrades are just to make your army more destructible or more durable. The longer your units are able to fight, the more damage they're obviously going to deal. The higher their damage is per attack, obviously the more damage they're going to be able to deal. So in essence, both of these upgrades are so that your units can deal more and more damage. But let's take a look at some actual numbers, and let's go back to the Zealot versus Zergling example. Now, to explain this chart a little bit, and this is a Zealot on the left-hand side over here, and this is the Zergling on the top. What's in this graph is the attacks to kill. So if you have a 0 upgraded Zealot versus a 0 armor upgraded Zergling, it will take 3 rounds of attack to kill that Zergling. What's interesting to note in this particular example, though, is if you get 1 additional armor upgrade over the Zealot, it still only takes 3 attacks to kill. The only time that it would be better to get that armor upgrade is if your Zealot sitting over here has 1 attack upgrade. Then you want to go into that 1 armor. Also, there is the instance over here, if you have 2 armor and for some reason the Zealot doesn't have any attack upgrades, you can try to get an additional point of armor and then go for +3 armor versus a 0 attack Zealot. But then again, if you have a 0-3 Zerglings and your opponent has 0-0 Zealots, then something's already really wrong. Now let's go ahead and take a look at another example, and this example you'll notice a little bit some more interesting things. First of all, there's stars next to these numbers, some of these numbers. What do these numbers mean? These numbers mean it will normally take 5. It will normally take 1 less attack to kill it, but because of the regeneration rate on Zerg units, it will take an additional round of attack to kill it. So if for some reason you had 5 Zealots surrounding 1 Hydralisk, you would be able to get 1 round of attack on all those 5 Hydralisks or 5 Zealots to kill that 1 Hydralisk, and would go down very easily. Taking a look at these numbers, you can see 0-0 upgrades, 6 rounds of attack. Getting that armor upgrade will not really help you unless your opponent has that. Unless the opponent with that Zealot once again has that 1 armor upgrade, then you want to get it. So this is more of a in response to your opponent. So for Zerg against Zealots in particular, you are more responding to what your opponent is doing, and you're trying to keep your units more durable. Once again, the numbers start to get skewed when you go off over here to the sides, where a Zealot can 4 round of attack to kill a Hydralisk over here and over here. The instance when you can. When you have 2 armor upgrades, it is really definitely worth it to get that 3rd armor upgrade if your Zealot opponent does not have any attack upgrades. Now, some of you guys may also be noticing a little bit of a pattern here, where all the numbers along the diagonal are the same. Now, taking a look, I decided to color code this a little bit for you guys so that you guys can actually see the difference. Where, okay, if you have 0-0 upgrades, then the number is the same. Against a 1-1 upgrade, 1 attack upgrade against a 1 armor upgrade, the numbers are once again the same. So is the arms race just a pure response to your opponent? If you have a 3-3 Marauder, is it going to kill a Roach as quickly as a 0-0 Marauder if that Marauder doesn't have any armor upgrades versus 3 armor upgrades? And the answer is no. Now, taking a look at this example here, what you're going to notice is that these diagonal numbers do not line up anymore. One of the things you have to remember back with the Zealot example is that the Zealot has that double attack rate. So because it has that double attack rate, 1 armor will reduce the attack by 2 on a Zealot. So that Zealot you're constantly trying to do a little bit of that catch-up game between that Zealot and that Hydralisk. If the Hydralisk has 1 armor, it will negate the 1 attack upgrade that a Zealot has, going back and forth. However, for the Marauder has 1 attack. So that 1 attack will get +2 when it gets that upgrade against an armored unit. So if you take a look at this example, it's more obvious between 1-1 upgrades versus 2-2 upgrades. At the 2-2 upgrade point, it takes 1 round of attack less than the 1-1 upgrades. And here, let me go ahead and show you why the numbers actually work. So if you take a look at this chart actually tells you the damage behind the numbers. So a 0-0 attack, Marauder versus a 0 armor Roach does 19 damage, respectively 18, 17, 16. Now, once you get that +1 attack against a Roach, you now have 21 damage, and then it goes down to 20, 19, 18. You can take a look at the diagonal. The numbers do not line up. They are not the same going across the board. These numbers are the same for a Zealot versus a Hydralisk or a Zealot versus a Zergling. So that's one of the things to keep in mind and when you try to keep track of some of your upgrades. Now, what this really means later in the game is that those units that only get +1 attack or have a +2 attack off of a double attack, those units with those maximum upgrades are not going to be as effective as, say, Marauders, Siege Tanks, and Thors. That is why as you transition later into the game and you have higher armor units, higher attack upgrade units, if your opponent is even with you in terms of upgrades as well, if say you have a 3-3 Zergling against a 3-3 Zealot, those attacks are going to be exactly the same against each other. So as though it was 0-0 at the very start of the game. So you're not going to be getting any real benefit. This is when you need to start going into those higher grade units. And if your opponent has say a lot of Zealots, you may want to decide to try to go for Ultralisk. And in an even food count, I believe those Ultralisks will be a much better just because of that 3-3 upgrades compared to a 3-3 Zealot upgrade. That Ultralisk will be able to deal more damage, even though it is against a light unit. And will still be able to deal much more damage anyways. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this, this little StarCraft 2 lesson on the damage upgrades and how it works. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments portion of this video. Also, give me suggestions on what else you guys would like to learn explaining the numbers. I know shields have been one of those interesting points that people want to know about Protoss. Another lesson that I wanted to do was how the math behind Chrono Boost works as well. So those are the 2 lessons that I'm thinking about doing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And yeah, leave comments to let me know if you want to hear more about Chrono Boost or shields.